Wrestling Underground podcast. We are not on Sundays because, or I should say, we're not on this upcoming Sunday because we are on now. So there's nothing tomorrow, but we will have a episode of GameCorp over at twitch.tv/Comic and GameCorp on Twitch. Look for the link. Check it out. We're talking Slammiversary. 7 matches. I'm not gonna lie, that the Knockouts title match I thought was not as impressive as I thought it could be, but it wasn't terrible by any means. And then I was so worked up for the main event that I was rage tweeting because I'm like, wait, you're like the big names who are coming in are Rich Swann and Eric Young. What?
Yeah, I was, and I had to make a decision. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna keep up on Twitter. And normally, if I don't want to tweet myself, I'll just retweet everything Chad did because he's usually thinking the same stuff. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just sit back and enjoy this. You know how long it's been since anything Impact related in a good manner was tweeting all damn day. I'm gonna just enjoy this.
So, as far as and everyone was rightfully kind of irked about it, but then, you know, the ending came, and it's like, it made all the sense in the world why they booked it the way they did. I'm just sitting there going, all right, I was raging like a 12-year-old, and I admit it, and I was wrong, and I own it. Top to bottom, this was a great, because every match was at least good, and I think that's important to note.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, that was good. The commentary was, I really thought, we hadn't had Don Callis. It was good to have him back on commentary. Aside from people just being annoyed at the existence of Josh, he's good at times, and I thought him and Callis had like some renewed energy, like they was really having fun. Like the laughs were genuine, which is a good thing. And yeah, from start to finish, man, it was definitely a variety show. I think the women, anybody that crap on the women, really, and we're gonna get off into it, like it's been such a weird thing watching, all this stuff in WWE to see I was almost jarred watching a ring full of women with actual differing personalities. It was like weird.
And that was one of the things I really appreciate about the Battle Royal, and we'll hit this beat by beat, but I do want to say that real fast. The Battle Royal is filled with very unique and interesting characters. Like, even if you look at Kira and Tasha Steelz, they're not even remotely close to the same type of personality. Kira Hogan's very bombastic, very flamboyant. She's got the colorful hair, while Tasha Steelz is very much of the street. She comes out in jean jackets and like jean, I don't know, sheens? I don't know. She doesn't wear like it's like the Eddie Edwards jeans. Like, I don't know what you call those. Knee highs? I don't know. They're ugly, but they both wear them. But they both have a similar enough kind of trash-talking style that makes them fit, but they're still very different because she's also, if I remember correctly, she's Dominican?
Yeah.
And she very much waves that flag with pride. So there's uniqueness. And, like, you look at Rosemary and Sue Young. Close, but not the same.
Yeah, and I 100% back you because... And we don't tend to go this far on the show unless we have to, but that means a lot coming from the white guy on the show. You know what I'm saying? That you get that? Mm-hmm. Because it'd be so easy for you to be like, oh, they're acting hood. The two of them are acting hood. To throw it under that category, so I'm so glad that and obviously you're smarter than most, but that you make it a point to point that out, because some people just gonna brush that under the thing, like, oh my God, they come out and they're the ghetto ones, and then Rosemary's the scary one, and then Sue Young's the
other scary one. It's one of those things where I've seen it so much in wrestling, and we talk about it all the time. Like, they just threw Cedric Alexander and Caprice Coleman together because they're both black in Ring of Honor. I think it was Cedric who even said that. He's like, I love Caprice, but we got nothing. We don't even wrestle alike. And to be fair, like, he's right. Caprice Coleman's like straight out of the '80s in terms of, like, he's a big bombastic personality. He's all flash. Like, he's good, but he's not Bret Hart. But his the reason you come to see Caprice ain't because he's gonna be doing sharpshooters for 20 minutes. It's because he's gonna be super fucking entertaining. And Cedric, he has got the personality of a wet rock. Like, there's nothing there. Boy, he's super good in the ring. But they were thrown together because they were both black. And that's not the only company who's ever done it. And I guarantee you Impact's done it. Like, way back in the early days when Jarrett was booking, both Jeff and Jerry. So it's kind of one of those things, like, you look at wrestling now and you gotta understand that there's nuances to these characters. Rosemary and Su Yung, to just look at those two. Rosemary is someone who she's a vessel for a higher being, while Su Young's kind of this creepy multi-personality kind of, algorithm that pops up randomly as needed. And while they both do face paint, they're both not face paint wrestlers in that sense. You could draw the comparison more to, like, well, Sting and Ultimate Warrior were largely the same character. And that's fair. I would say that's fair. Sting's 1,000 times better promo, 1,000 times better person, 1,000 times better worker. But they were both high-energy white dudes who painted their face and dyed their hair blonde. And that's not a surprise. They were tag team partners. So, yeah, that makes sense. But you look at Kira and Tasha, and there's a very different feel for them both. Like, Kira Hogan, I would see in, like, like, I don't know, give me a famous hip-hop singer. Lizzo, is that someone? I don't know hip-hop. But, like, I could see Kira Hogan, like, all glammed up in a Lizzo video. Tasha Steelz, I'm going to expect to see her in a bit more grunge kind of a video. Like, in terms of, like, personalities, they're vastly different. But they do have the same type of personality in the fact that they're both shit talkers, that it makes sense they're friends.
Yeah, that swag they got is simpatico in a way that they just, those, like you said, those styles are different. And if you haven't seen it, and to give people who just, again, would categorize it as just that one thing that they've seen maybe portrayed on TV, horribly, by the way, quote unquote black stereotype, that they put it under there because, again, experience ends up being the best teacher. So if you haven't seen it yourself or, been around people like that, what have you, but it is interesting, like, because that chemistry clicks so well, you almost do think in some ways that it's kind of the same thing, but it's not. Now they are two very gorgeous women, and like I said, got similar swag, but there's different nuances, and I think even they're aware of it. It would be cool to, like, if we could interview them to talk about that, but yeah, like just the different personalities and that match really, made stuff like that. Probably like Rosemary and Taya shouldn't work, but the women behind it, just make that thing click.
They're phenomenal, and that's like the case of the odd couples. Like, they're so different, but
yeah,
Taya also kind of has like if Allie was Barbie Bunny, Taya was high class Barbie. Like,
yeah,
Rosemary's been down this path before with that type of personality, just only muted a bit. Turned up to 11, you get Taya. So, like, it makes sense that she would glom onto Taya, of all people. And let's be honest, in terms of attraction, there's something for everyone in this Knockouts division. And I think that's a wonderful thing. You have different shapes, sizes, colors, religions, I'm guessing. We don't really know. I'm just assuming. And I think it's a wonderful thing to see all this. And I'm not that guy. I don't go, I need to see representation. But it's good to see that kind of representation, because when it comes to women, I like them varied. People go, what's your favorite restaurant? And I go, one that has a little bit of everything. And that's how I don't want to, minimize women to, just being a buffet item, but I appreciate all sorts of different looking women for all sorts of different reasons. And if you're someone who appreciates attraction and beauty, these women bring that. On top of that, they're all fantastic. And even the worst of the worst, in my opinion, being Su Yung and Havoc, aren't as bad as some of the wrestlers we see on television in AEW, WWE, and Ring of Honor, respectively. I don't think there's one, slog of a wrestler in the Knockouts division. I know I harp on Susie, but in this role that she had tonight, she was wildly entertaining because she was just going around slapping bitches, and I loved it. Normally, I'm not a big Susie guy, but she worked in this.
Was I the only one thinking that Susie was going to get eliminated and Su Yung would come back out?
Oh, yes, but that would have been awesome. Instead, we got two Johnny Bravo appearances. One is Taya, one is Rosemary, and I marked for them both. That man was the
Which,
MVP of the show. Don't at me.
which think about, and again, it's easy to doubt this stuff is stupid, hokey stuff, but we've seen worse. A lot of the Orange Cassidy stuff is being saved by Jericho's bombastic reactions to it. 'Cause sometimes Cassidy is hit or miss depending on how you might be feeling that week. But the fact that we're entertained by it, me and you, and we could literally sit up and probably do a show about who did it better in the week, like Swing Aside or freaking Roll Bravo or
Brovsmary and Brovkire.
Mary.
Brosmary and Brovkire.
Wait a minute,
No,
what?
Brosmary and Valero.
Well, what the freak happened to the real suicide?
He's back in Nashville hiding behind a trash can because someone stole his fucking clothes. He can't go home.
That needs to be a thing.
I just
Like turn that where you got a guy stumbling into the building with like a bag on because we can't see who it is, and then he sees Bravo in the hall and he goes chasing after him.
Here's how it should go. Dude comes in wearing a mask thong, just like a bunch of masks covering his junk, and a paper bag with holes cut in, and he just points at him, and it says "I'm suicide" on the bag, and he chases after Bravo. So let's go beat by beat and get into the actual show. We open up with the open challenge. All of us thought it was going to be the Rascals versus the Good Brothers. I, for one, didn't want that, not because I'm not a Good Brothers guy. I'm indifferent on them. I see their value to the company in the sense that it brings eyes. I'm not going to sit and go, oh, yeah, I'm such a big Good Brothers fan. I'm much more of a Tongan fan. You give me some Tama Tonga or some Tongaloa, and I'll especially Tama Tonga, and I'll mark the fuck out. They're my Bullet Club heavyweights.
Everything, yeah.
The real Sting apprentice, if you will, in Tama Tonga. But, like, I saw the Good Brothers as a good signing because it brings altention to the company. Just like, with MVP, I wasn't a big fan, but I saw the appeal of him coming in. Who else? Alberto Patron, same thing. If you can bring eyes to your product, that's a good thing, even if I'm not the biggest fan. But when the Motor City Machine Guns came out, I was like, this show's the best thing ever. Go home now. It can only get worse.
Yeah. I mean, they kicked the show off really great and gave those guys time. We'll get into it obviously, but and it's funny because like in the heyday in TNA, there was always a great team that I never really necessarily paid too much attention to they themes because they obviously they're going against guys like Big Money that theme is slamming, and then other teams. But I really kind of marked out on the slick to that Motor City. Like it was good to hear that again.
It was so good. So many of these Impact themes were popping tonight. And the thing that I found out is the boys at Jitsu, and you got to remember, Powerbomb Jitsu is an all-black podcast about wrestling, and they're very much into hip-hop. And when I'm like, dude, that Sammy Callahan song is banging, they're like, yes, we feel that. I'm just like, brothers, I love you all.
I'm so glad you think that he really does have a good theme song. Rascals theme bump on the slick too.
The only thing I don't like about the Rascals theme, and I think maybe you'll agree with me, maybe you won't, is I'm not a fan of any type of, drug ingestion, be it, medicinal or otherwise. Like, not to say that like medical drugs don't have their place. I think as a society we're overly medicated to begin with, though. So like when I hear that bong riff, I'm just like, I'm like, I don't care. Like you guys already made me not fans.
It's like having like the baddest chick. That you finally get to sleep with her, but she got to smoke one every time before y'all screw.
Yep. Or she's got the chest tattoo. Like, who are you, Scott Steiner? Why?
She got the freaking she got the Galloway tat.
Oh,
not the
God.
Galloway, the Gallagher tat. You're like, God.
Oh, that's even worse. Because he's creepy too. So like that if you took that bump out, I would really enjoy the Rascals bit. But they don't, and it kind of annoys me. And it's not even just like it's not even just like a moral thing, like phonically, like the sound of it, like
Yeah, it's
grates me.
off-putting.
Yeah, like it grates me. I'm very auditory with my sensibilities. Like if you're not a very traditionally attractive woman, but you got the right voice, I'm good. Like okay, like I'm very much like in that realm. Like music sounds like all very much that thing with me. Here, you want to hear one that really bothers me, and it'll make you laugh because it makes no sense. The worst thing I can ever hear on television, Marcus, is like a Coke commercial where they pop the tap. That's fine, but then when they pour it in and it's like ew, why? No, I don't need to hear that. It's so gross, and I don't know why it's gross. I just find it so bothersome.
Man, I'm right there with you, man. Like certain grating sounds I can't take. And like go back to the women for a second, like that whole smoking thing, because I'm very much like Forrest Gump in that situation. They tasted like cigarettes. Like I'm not very much like that whole deal, like that, or like a super annoying voice. I can't do. Um, yeah, it's certain things. Smells, of course. The cigarettes thing. Other stuff like you smell sour. You smell like this natural musk that is off-putting. Um, but yeah, it's stuff like that. And then, like you said, with music, it's very hard to get into something where you got to like, oh, this bubbling thing. And with the show, because they were the first people out, I don't know if they had the audio 100% set. So it took a minute for them to turn up the part of their song that I actually liked. Well, like I was like, okay. And then they hit the Motor City 100% right, so I was happy.
Yeah, I don't even think did they even play the Rascals music for the first time out? I thought that was still like the pay-per-view music.
No, they did. It was just
okay.
Because of the audio. I think they was getting it set, and then it got straight towards the end of it, and then they had the Motor City way. Because if they would have bungled that would have been.
Oh, that would have been bad. So, I love the Motor City Machine Guns. I'm so glad they're back. They're two of the best all-around talents in the business. They are a little bit older. They're 38 and 37 respectfully, but in today's wrestling, that's nothing. Considering Jericho's 50 and he's still going, Dreamer's 50, and Dreamer, I thought, sold his ass off. So, I no longer see 38 as you're too old to do this, right? So I'm fine with them. I still see them as quote-unquote young guys. Maybe not young, but they're, especially in wrestling, 35 to 45 is really your prime as a competitor because you understand things better, you know how to work better, and you know how to work with your limitations better. At least you should by that point. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Shelley and Sabin can do in this next peak of their career because they haven't been in Impact since Shelley left, I think, in 2012 or 2013, and Sabin left in 2014 or 2015. So it's been about half a decade, at least for both. So the only thing I will say, though, about the Machine Guns negatively is, and it's not really a negative, but it's not a positive. I did cringe a lot when I saw Sabin moving around because I think he's had 3 torn ACLs in his life, and I just want him to not have to do it again. Please don't do something wrong to your knees again. Please. You're too good. Also, he thinned down a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny seeing that that physique dichotomy a lot of times in wrestlers, because for a lot of guys it tends to be a health thing, and that might be better for him, if he picked up a lot of weight and towards his legs or whatnot. But like I said, they gave those guys some good time, man, and it's interesting. I don't know if we ever had this conversation of the decision that got made to obviously because they needed to separate the Rascals. I think it ended up being a good decision with the picks that they were made of who would be the team and then who would be the solo ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, I always wanted the single guy to be Dez because we got introduced to him through a singles. He won that tournament all that long ago, and I kind of wanted him to have a run in the X division. But I think this ended up being better for him in the long run because I feel like he would have got lost in the shuffle if the Rascals hadn't came along. But
yes, I 100% agree with that. Dez would have been lost in the shuffle, and I think the one thing holding Dez back is I don't know if he's found his voice yet as Dez, so to speak. Because there's a lot of guys, if
Yeah.
you talk to them casually, they're really engaging. You know, very charismatic, very fun. But as a personality, they don't have that thing that makes them go, oh, yeah, Orange Cassidy's the sunglass guy. Or The Rock's the dude who
Yeah.
likes to talk about vaginas. Dez doesn't have that, at least not yet. So him and Zach Wentz work well together. They're the better tag team of the group, like of any pairing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm right there with you. And part of the reason why I'm right there with you is because Wentz has always made it abundantly clear that he's best friends with Trey.
Yeah.
So we don't really see a lot of that camaraderie between Wentz and Dez that we see with Wentz and Miguel. And I think that's maybe part of why I don't know if the Rascals work well outside of being a trio. I think Impact should just introduce trio championships and knockout tag team championships as well. That way, you can have something to do for like Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan as they develop, because I don't know if they're ready to go up with the Jordan Graces and Taya Valkyries yet in terms of just like being able to put a great match together. But if you put them in a tag team environment, you can stretch out their learning curve and help improve that. And with the trios idea, you can get the Rascals involved, get really good title runs going without having to bog down the tag team division. Because I'm of the mindset that the North, and I genuinely mean this, that the North shouldn't lose the belts for another entire year. I think that would be one of the most impressive things they could do. And it's not like they're losing steam. Because we've seen that before. We've seen with like beer money and such. Sometimes a tag team just starts losing steam at the end, or someone else better comes along. I don't think we're there. So I would like to see them keep going, and having a trios title would allow you to move belts around so guys can kind of bulk up their championship resume. There we go. I was going to say regime and through resume, and then it's. But I think that's what they should do.
Yeah, and talking about going back to the city machine guns for a second, I think the one thing I appreciated, and it kind of comes off your point, about because we was there for a lot of Saban's back-to-back injuries, which just sucked. But and obviously his style ended up changing. But I think even with Alex in this match, it's clear that they changed their style to what they kind of have to do now in their older age with the injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like they didn't fly a lot at all. It was a lot of hard hitting and tag moves, some stuff. Like they didn't do skull and crossbones.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that kind of, again, let's keep Saban out of the air, if at all possible. No dives, no unnecessary. Because at this point, just him coming off the top rope wrong could put him back. So. I think them going back to that smash mouth style and that more grounded stuff, I appreciate it, So, and they had some good tag team maneuvers in that regard. And again, they balanced off well with the Rascals, and they ended up pulling it out, and it was good to see. I mean, it was a good L to take for the Rascals.
Yes, I agree, and I think Shelley had even said this. Saban had been training with him ahead of his Impact return. And I was like, damn it, Shelley, why would you even say that? Like, I knew what was happening, but you didn't need to say it. But he's like, yeah, I'm helping him train while I'm getting ready for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship title tournament. Oh, Shelley, you sneaky bitch. Because I didn't think he was coming back. And I think them training together is a good idea because Shelley was never a big high flyer. He was very athletic, but he wasn't someone that was going to do dives and splashes to the point of everyone else at the height of the X Division back in 05 through 09 when he was a part of it. Saban was, though. So I think him working with Shelley is going to improve his in-ring work as he shifts away from being such a high flyer. And I think he's been doing that for a few years now. I've been very intermittent with his work in Ring of Honor the last 2 or 3 years, so I really can't say for sure how long he's been doing this change. But I'm glad he's doing it because it's going to keep him around a lot longer. I don't ever want to see him do another top rope move to the floor ever again because I know, that's how 2 of them went out. I don't need to see a third. Just let the young guns do it. Let the Dezes and Wentz and Treys do it. They got some healthy knee joints. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Machine Guns win. Really exciting match. Great win. Everything about this was fantastic. I'm going to say this. I don't mean it to be slanderous, but I do think Saban was on a little bit of the juice back in the day. So I would really be interested to see what Saban looked like at Slammiversary 2005 to what he looked like at Slammiversary, I guess this would be 18. I would like to see that. I think that would be very interesting. Because he used to be big boy. He used to look like a super. He was Super Saban. Super Saban, you'll kill us all. Then so be it. Speaking of getting your nuts kicked into your throat, Moose versus Tommy Dreamer. Very fun little match. Dreamer was the right choice for this, in my opinion. He had name value. He had notoriety. He was someone that a lot of people know instantly. And you can tell by looking at this card that they built it to put as many names up against as many young guys as possible. And with the exception of the main event, all of the names took an L. Moose beating Dreamer, while I would have loved to have seen what Dreamer could have done as TNA World Champion, I think was the right move. And maybe they're going to do a short reign with Eddie and move him right into a title unification match with Moose, and Moose will win. I don't know. I hope Eddie doesn't lose the belt until I'm 40, though. So, let's see how that turns out.
They need to do a sweep job after Tesla. So to just lean into Eddie, lean into the loyalty, as we talked about before, lean into the people that clearly want to stay there in with their contract. There you go.
There's talk of a 3 to 5 year extension for Eddie that he had gotten at his last renewal. I don't know which one it is, but he's at least got 2 years and odd change on that deal, and it's not like he's going anywhere because he signed, I think this was his third extension since joining the company in 2014. So, I don't know. Eddie, you deserve the best. And I would love to see Impact go full on like Pro Wrestling Noah, New Japan. Just give him 30 fucking title defenses. Just do it. Just fucking stack up the bodies.
Yeah, man.
But speaking of stacking up the bodies, Dreamer's 50 and he shouldn't be doing the things he's doing. Did he go face first into the tax at one point?
Yeah, at this point, physique and other hulking and stuff aside, Dreamer is an all-tool kind of player at this point, and you gotta love him, gotta appreciate that. Like comedy shit, like that promo he cut on Moose, like a couple of weeks ago, it was damn good. The apology letter that he put, the mocking in that letter, is hilarious. And then he came to the match and he showed up for the guy, man, and it's you gotta appreciate the dedication because Dreamer's been with Impact now for how long? Like he talked about it on Twitter, like he came in under Dixie.
Yeah, it hasn't been like Eddie where he's been here for 7 years straight, but Dreamer's come and gone over the course of the last 10 years. I think I don't know if he ever technically left. I know between 2014 and 2016 or so, he wasn't really around that much. But he's always been with TNA, or Impact, I should say, as either a wrestler or producer or both. And he's been a producer with the company for the last 3 or 4 years now. So,
yeah,
that's something to be, something to be said. He's really done his thing. And with the fact that they can't do any House of Hardcore stuff, it's very much, I think he's going to ride with Impact for as long as possible. All right, let's see. We're on cagematch.com. Let's see how many years we can find no Impact. I don't see any Impact in 2017. No, in 2017. I don't see any in 2016. Oh, yeah, that's right. He did return to WWE for a hot minute in 2015. So he was gone from about 2015 to 2018. So he was gone for about 2.5 years as an active wrestler. But before that, he was pretty much there from 2010. I don't see him at all in 2012. But he was there in 2013. He was there in 2014. He was there in 2015. He was with the WWE still in 2016 for a little while. 2017, he wasn't at either, and then 2018, he was back. So he's been around, and it's not like he's doing some half-ass matches. Like, he's had 7 matches already this year, 18 last year. He had 9 the year before, and like he's that's just out of Impact. Here's his match count since he left the WWE in 2010. He had 103 in 2009, 57 in 2010, 49 in 2011, 52 in 2012, 65 in 2013. 2014 he had 50, 2015 he had 67, 2016 he had 58, 2017 he had 55. So you think he's starting to slow down. 2018 76, 2019 53, and he missed all of September, and he only had months where he had 2 or 3 matches. So his number could have been a lot higher. And this year, because of the pandemic, he's only had 12 matches. So he's still going strong, all things considered. But Moose winning, as much as I wish it was Dreamer, Moose winning is fine. Because they obviously have plans to make him the top heel. And, regardless of what they're doing with Eric Young, Moose is the only guy on the brand right now who's ready to be a main event heel, even if he doesn't win.
Come on, man. We talked about Moose's evolution, man. Like, I mean, he came in with Mike Bennett, and been through a lot of stuff. Has clearly gotten better, certainly as a character.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more so than anything. But yeah, I mean, just and it's funny. I think I saw this on the Twitter. Like, somebody pointed out, like, yeah, that whole FTR thing, blatant ripoff. Such a blatant ripoff of what Moose is doing.
Yeah.
And doing better, by the way, because his obsession with taking out the guys in TNA, and then now the very ornament to which I guess represented that era, and putting the Moose stamp on it, and then having guys fight him if for no other reason than to spite him, than to take the prize that he literally thinks he earned. It's creating a lot of great stuff. Like, we got some good stuff from Crazy Steve within this whole Moose thing. So I think Moose is yeah, man, he's doing the Moose Lord's work, with this thing, because it could very much be a thing where it'd be like, he could be a disgruntled employee, be like, oh, they threw me this bone because they don't want to put me in the real title picture, but he is having fun with this, and that's what separates the guys that are entertaining from the guys that are just there. So
the Moose Lord's work. Every week there's something new. So, I like the new white belt for the title.
Yeah.
Personally, that's kind of my fuck that belt. Like, I don't really care what they do to it. The Gold Eagle one that preceded it was my belt. Like, that was the one that I always marked for. So if they did that to that belt, I'd be very mad. Like, really? What? The black strap wasn't good enough for you?
Yeah, it's funny. Maybe because I saw the new one, the current world title in like good lighting, but I'm coming around on that one. Like, maybe because the gold it popped better tonight for some reason.
Like, it's a fine belt. Like, I don't have any problem with it. It's a red version of the one we had before with Impact and Johnny Impact and Brian Cage. It's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I really liked those initial belts. The Knockouts belt, the tag team title belts, the world title belt, and the X Division belt in 2007, I thought were perfect for every brand, for every division. And ever since then, like, they've been declining in quality, in my opinion. Not quality, but they've been declining in beauty, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I thought Moose was fine tonight with his new belt.
Yeah, I mean, real quick, it does kind of remind me in a way of how I felt about, how we talked about RH's distinguished last phase belts, if you will. They had a certain distinctness where it was very representative of like the oldness, but definitely like modernized in a way. It was a great blend of the established ilk of the brand with a modern look to it, and now it's just like it's way too mainstream with the glossy stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, the new Ring of I shouldn't say new, but the Ring of Honor title just looks like trash. All right, so I see the folks over at what is that? Pro Wrestling Video Voice Wrestling. I don't fucking
Voice.
know. Yeah, that sounds about right. I see them banging too hard on the Knockouts Battle Royal. They're saying that it was trash, and I'm just sitting here going, huh? I'm not sitting here saying it's Okada Omega, but it was fine. Like, I'm sorry, what did you want from them? It's a battle royal. They always suck. Like, the only reason anyone ever cares about the Royal Rumble is you sometimes might get the right person winning, and then the possibility of surprises. But don't delude yourself into thinking that the Royal Rumble match itself is ever actually good. It's always the same thing. New person comes in, gets the spot. Next person comes in, gets the spot, and you go through it. It's very much copy-paste. So, like, I don't know why they were complaining about it. It was fine. It was entertaining, especially Johnny Bravo.
In a lot of ways, unless you had, like, a Brock fetish, this last Royal Rumble was trash.
Yeah. That Keith Lee Brock Lesnar spot was great, but that was it.
That spot in the McIntyre thing, but other than that, you just probably watched your favorite guys get jobbered. Job. So I guess it's how you frame your perception of trash. I will say though, and I don't know their viewing habits. Their website usually has some good stuff, but unless you watch this show, Impact faithfully every week and really tune into these women, you're not gonna be able to fully appreciate that battle royal like we are.
Because it's very character driven.
It's very character driven, and I don't think our picks got out of there to the end. But I do think the right person ended up winning because I'm slowly but surely coming over to the Smiling Kylie Ray thing because she, very quirky, hokey sometimes and quirky, but she turns it up when she needs to, which we don't always get with that personality type.
She's like, character-wise, she's the inverse of Minoru Suzuki, but as a wrestler, she's the female equivalent. She's very stiff, and I appreciate it. As for the rest of it, it was good. I like that. They even give Alicia Edwards a little moment. She's 4'11". I love it. Good job. Good for her. But yeah, Kylie won, and while Johnny Bravo stole the show in that regard, it wasn't a great match, but it wasn't bad. Like, I've seen worse. High Raw and SmackDown. By the by, I gotta ask this: why is Naomi trending? I know there's a surge behind getting more representation in the WWE, especially among Naomi, who's just been dog walked by everyone in that company. She does deserve better, but she also keeps re-signing. So like I really don't have any sympathy for her because she could easily do well elsewhere. But like, what happened on this Friday's episode that made people start hashtag?
It's a continued trust. She's literally lost to Dana Brooke, Nikki Cross, probably some other person who, while on the brand, doesn't matter in the grand scheme. Upon returning after a certain amount of absence, I think she had some personal issues, but she returned and has been on this awkward losing streak. Then she lost to Lacey Evans after the chick tied her braids up on the rope and knocked out. It's another one of those things of seeing the premier talent get treated like a catering star, and the people are tired of it. And the fact that the most notable thing that's been talked about going into that pay-per-view tomorrow is somebody who's not even on it tells you how bad that booking is.
Well, we've known that, Yeah. So, let's be honest about that.
Well, Voices of Wrestling, talk about that. After you talk about this Slammiversary Battle Royal being trash, because the most talked about thing in the whole other company has to do with a talent that isn't even on their next pay-per-view.
That company's trash, man. Fuck WWE. Marcus, honest to God, unless it's like a big four, I really don't see any need for us to cover it ever again. Not until Vince dies.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm not being
I'm so glad.
facetious with that.
Hilarious. No, but you're right. And I was gonna bring it up. I was like, you know what? I'm not. I don't bring it up. If he don't bring it up, I'm not bringing it up because I don't give a crap. They're calling it the horror show Extreme Rules. Like, piss off. Piss off. The company is the horror show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
So two quick notes. One, you mentioned Mike Bennett. It looks like he and Maria are about to go back to Ring of Honor. If they put the belt on him, then that's the great move. Like good for Mike if he goes back and actually gets the belt. But if he's stuck in the mid card again, jobbing out to Cheeseburger, just fucking burn down the fucking company, man. I tell you what. Secondly, you said job when we were talking about jobbers, and it got me thinking about Seth Rollins. Jobbers. And now I just ate myself, and I need to share that horrible mindset with you. So then we get the X Division title match, Chris Bay versus Willie Mack. I'm both disappointed and not. If it was anyone else, I'd be rage quitting. But Chris Bay as a character is so good. He's all about that cheating life. He makes no bones about it. He doesn't want to fight you. He wants the glamour. He wants the glitz. He wants the notoriety. He does not want to work for it. And it makes him such a shit heel. And I love it. And Willie Mack, really didn't have the title run that I thought he could have. He's so engaging, so charismatic. He does great promo work, but I don't remember a lot of promos during his title run. The Austin one with the Deaners was great. But like most of them were kind of just him talking, and yeah, but he's got much more personality than that, and I want to see more of him going forward. I don't know if they have plans to put him back in the tag team division or what, but we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, this is a weird one. One, these are two great, black talents going against each other. Love to see that, obviously. And
Marcus, when will the black on black crime stop?
Not when there's a lot of finessing to be done. On the base side.
You say finessing, I say straight up cheating.
It's like you're tweeting like happy Saturday. Like his whole Bay narrative is great.
Oh wait, does he really do that? Does he really put puns into like his name in puns?
Oh no, it's on his Twitter. Happy Saturday. Hashtag Slammiversary, hashtag New X Division Champ, all that stuff. It's on his
If he's using puns with his name, then he's top talent material. Chad will always rep for puns.
Oh man, as will I. But yeah, it's a weird spot to be in, and I was thinking about it when you said it. I'm like, and he's so talented. Like I don't want Mac because I think Swan had a better reign, but you also got to remember like Swan had better instances and feuds in his reign. Like he got targeted by Callahan, which had a whole nother backstory to it, and the X Division title was more a convenience for Callahan that continued to screw over him in that regard, but it still helped. Overall, Mac didn't necessarily get that. And like you said, he didn't have a lot of stuff to do in terms of going in depth promo. It very much reminds me of what we got with Ambrose when we was covering SmackDown on Brand Banner when he was champion.
Oh God, how long ago was that show?
He had the strap, but it was a lot of middling, and Mac was kind of, got caught in this like weird flux thing where it wasn't he was doing stuff, but it wasn't necessarily a whole lot going on. And I think Mac is too talented to be the guy that's just always in the chase. And I hope he doesn't get in that box because of this. Because, I mean, obviously, got caught up during COVID and that whole thing. But I do think, like you said, it could have been more done. It's just weird because how can you not root for Mac? But then you see somebody, like you said, like Chris Bay, who's very much nipping at the heels, specifically from a creative character perspective. And he's that good in the ring. And now I'm thinking about, like, imagine, like, Swan getting involved with that, and we either getting a three-way or, like, long standing-off matches between Bay and Swan. Like, that's a show-stealing potential right there.
Well, they're definitely going to do that Eric Young-Swan feud first. So I don't know what they're going to do with Bay in the meantime. Maybe a rematch with Mac. But you know me, I don't like long, continuous, multi-match feuds because it's done to death. It should only be done when it's important. But I'm very much interested in Bay winning, or not Bay winning, but Bay going on from here and seeing how he continues to win. I don't ever want him to win clean, like ever. Even if he's dominating a match, I want him to cheat for the sake of it, because that really kind of sells the idea that he's going to do whatever he has to do to win, because he can. It's not even a big deal to him. Like, I want to see him like come out, get caught with brass knucks, and just shrug and give him the ref. The ref goes, put him over to the ringside area. He's got another pair, hits the guy falls, ref turns around, and Bates just shrugs and like lays on top of him. Like, that would be great.
Everybody else is cheating to him. It's the finesse, and you kind of take away the finesse if he starts winning clean.
Exactly.
Even though he's that good to win clean, but it's the you got to tie in that character work, and he's so cocky. Him being at this point, it almost makes sense. The turn with what we saw in last edition of Impact, the turn swinger face.
You're in my head. They definitely need to get some good runs out of these guys with the titles. Since Swan won the belt after Brian Cage vacated it, Swan had the belt for 194 days. Jake Christ had the belt for 93 days. Ace Austin for 171. And Willie Mack for 91 days. Jake Christ had a really good run because it totally reinvented himself. But now with his brother, it kind of, tainted forever. I don't know what you can do with Jake Christ. I would like to see him come back and try to get back into things, but I really don't know if that's possible. And Swan had a good run, but I think the thing that made Swan's run good is that they gave him main event talent to work with. Mm-hmm. So it really felt more grandiose because it wasn't just Callahan. I think he also had a match with Phoenix, and I want to say he had a match with Brian Cage. I want to say.
Didn't he also have a show-stealing match with Morrison? I mean, Impact.
I think he did. Let's.
He had.
United We Stand. Knockouts. He faced Flamita at United We Stand on the 2019's WrestleMania show, and I think the next two pay-per-view matches was against Callahan. Let's see. Slammiversary
versus Johnny Impact. Slammiversary.
Yeah, Slammiversary. You're right.
That was probably one of the best matches, if not the best match on that show. So yeah, like you said, you gave main event talent to go up against, and I'm wondering, and obviously this is talking about a couple guys later, like, because to me you could throw guys like Rohit, like Austin, and Swan back in the X Division, but if you put those guys like. The back and forth between the X and the heavyweight has always been a murky thing, because sometimes it's like in the past it's been like we need these guys in this division now, depending on what was happening. But I'm wondering, like, because we talked about Austin wasn't ready for the strap.
No.
But but also that would be two heels clashing. Although I do think those would be two unique personalities to clash between Bay and Austin, because in my mind, like. One clearly thinks they're better than the other on both sides. So it'll be interesting to see, like you said, who they put Bay up against, because that's going to have a lot to do with his reign. Because ultimately, not talking about it, that's really what Mac suffered with. Like, Mac is great, but if his whole feud is a bunch of guys dressing up like other guys,
Yeah. So next up, the North defeat Ken Shamrock on Sami Callihan. As much as I want to see gold around Shamrock's waist, this was the right call. It kind of broke down for about 10 seconds when Shamrock was kind of just watching Sammy. And I'm like, what are you doing, Ken? Come on. But Ken, it's that scene from Dumb and Dumber. Just when I think you couldn't do anything stupid or more stupid, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself. Because when Shamrock went over the top rope and Ethan pushed Alexander out of the way, and Shamrock went fucking tumbling end over end, I just held my hand on my chest and I went, we don't deserve Ken Shamrock. He's a goddamn saint. Saint Shamrock. Make it a thing. So I was just, he made a little mistake right there, but the rest of the match he was really good in. The match itself was actually really good considering that Sammy and Shamrock had never teamed before, and Shamrock's 56.
Yeah, and Callahan's a maniac. To me, this works so well because it's exactly how we think like the married at first sight things should go.
Mm-hmm.
When they come on TV, they try to make it it's like, oh my God, they made it through the scene. Like that's not freaking, but whatever. It's like they freaking staged. But this, it works out perfectly. Like the whole contention of like Callahan being like, maybe I'm getting this close to you, so I can take you out. And that's always the thing because, again, Sammy Callahan could very much be a petty LaBelle at times. And remember that he was basically, he passed out on concrete to an ankle lock. So that's always the thing. Like I could see them winning the straps, and then in the same breath, Callahan taking the belt, hitting Shamrock over the head with it, and then teleporting off with both the straps.
That would be interesting. So when talking about Shamrock, though, what do you think his Bound for Glory plans are going to look like? Like, we know he's going into the Hall of Fame. Do you think they're going to do another Shamrock-Callahan match at Bound for Glory?
I don't know. Maybe they'll do something. Maybe they'll try this. It's either one or two things for me. They'll either go back to him and Callahan, or they'll try to grease the wheels with this tag team thing and go at the North again, but this time with a stipulation.
I could see them going back to the North, but with the Good Brothers and the Machine Guns now back in play, it's like...
Yeah.
It'd be like your girl comes to you and go, listen, I want an open relationship. And you're like, I'm not okay with that. And she goes, no, listen, I don't want to date anyone else, but I want you to date other women in front of me. And then she brings in like the 3 other hottest women you can think of, and you're like, I think I'm all right with that.
You're like, our relationship has earned entanglement. But,
well, this would be an entanglement because we're all in on it. It's about to become a throuple.
It's funny. But I think we need this because, like you said, they're great together, but they could also stand apart being Ego and Alexander. I want that freaking match between him and Shamrock that we didn't get. Because I like that tension backstage. We're like, nah, you don't talk to him. You talk to me. I'm ready. And put the mouth guard in. Like, oh, no, I'll be your Huckleberry. I want that match.
I would be 100% down for that match, quite honestly. I think Josh Alexander, he's a lot more... I don't want to say he's a lot more charismatic than you think, because he is charismatic, but he's not on Ethan's level. So I feel like when Alexander is doing promo work, people often think he's not very charismatic, but he really is. The problem is he's a 7, Ethan's a 10. So, like, if Josh Alexander's in the WWE, he's on John Cena's level because they don't have anyone else. You know, what, Drew McIntyre's going to give you a good promo? Oh, God. Can't wait for that, gold. The other thing that... What's that?
I was like walking in that. Drew, come here, Drew.
But like when you think of Josh Alexander, he's forced to play the straight guy next to Ethan Page's more colorful personality. But when he went up with Shamrock and he got right into his face, that made him, in my eyes, so much more authentic because he's always presented himself as a combat guy. You know, he'll fight you, he'll wrestle you. Ethan Page is a pro wrestler, and that's either an insult or a compliment depending on how you want to take it. But Alexander has always looked like a fighter. And I don't know if it's the headgear. It definitely helps. I invoke Rick Steiner with that headgear. So, like, yes, praise Steiner. He is the one true High Father. But I think looking at, Josh Alexander, he's much more capable of being a solo star than people give him credit for. And I really do think Impact needs more titles. I know a lot of people won't agree, but, like, I would love a mid-card title. Like bring in an authentic TV championship. Have the trios titles, have the knockouts tag team titles. I think that's like the perfect kind of balance and everything in terms of like building up stars, because I do think belts do help guys get over. At least, visually speaking, it makes you think that you're looking at a real champion.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the irony that like the almost debacle that ended up being the grand championship almost kind of be befitting somebody in the fray of a Alexander, right? Because who's gonna just be like walking him in a straight up and down match? The guy's a hoss, and he can knock your teeth out. So, um, but yeah, we don't need that strap back. But yeah, it's funny because it comes off like in terms of just the personalities on paper, it comes off like Ethan's all show and then uh Josh is all go, but they both go.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's funny like you talking about the charisma when Ego wants to show, he can show off, and then when Alexander wants to go, like I almost don't want him to be in a tag team. Like it's weird, but they work so great together because they've honed that dichotomy. Again, a lot of these things that's been working in Impact wouldn't work other places
Mm-hmm.
because it's just this off-putting thing. Like you would have never thought that Tasha Steelz was a middling side fiddle in NWA.
Yeah,
You know.
they really do utilize a lot of their talents better, especially if it's just a minor role. And I think that's to their, you know, their better end of things. They've done a great job of being able to flush out characters even in the most minute of opportunities. Like Tasha Steelz, she's only had a handful of matches, but she's made herself into a well-known personality. I think the only person really like on this card that I still think needs to find her idea, find her, who she is Alicia Edwards. But I think everyone else is very much settling into who they are. I think Kimberly still too, but I think that one's that one's obviously gonna play out while it plays out. As far as the North, they're a tag team that should be a tag team for a long time, but they should also do single stuff while being a tag team and get singles opportunities in tag team kind of roles, like do Eddie versus the North in a triple threat for the title. I think that'd be awesome.
I mean, look, man, and again, look how good those guys are. They can play off anybody. Like I said, one of the best matches of the year was the tag match they had with Edwards and her, who should not be named.
The missing Sanderson
yeah.
sister.
The literal missing link. But yeah, I think they just fell off.
I've been waiting 400 years to say that to her.
Oh man. But yeah, North get the win, and like I said, I'm glad they didn't again because those two victories, championship wise, was all put in because we literally booked those whole things to me in a better fashion what we got, but there's a lot of potential with the decision that they make, but it's on them to get the mileage out of it. So yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens on both ends. I just know that it's good to see the North being the guys that go after their competition and then rise to the occasion every time.
Yes.
So that just sets a difference. Yeah.
Them as a heel group who just makes you not want to like them but makes you love them instead is phenomenal. And maybe we're at a point in wrestling where we don't need strict heels faces anymore. It's really just who you want to back. I'd be fine with that. With the North, they don't pussyfoot around and they don't, duck and dodge. And that's a tired trope in wrestling that doesn't work anymore. And the WWE still plays that drum like it's, fucking, kumbaya, like it works it doesn't. And the North are bringing that kind of attitude to the forefront. Guys like Bay, granted, Bay doesn't, he's not a coward, but he does cheat. But he's going to cheat because he's very lazy. And that's kind of the whole point. Like, I don't want to exert effort. I want to just win. I want the glamour, the glitz, the fame. I don't want to hurt for it. That's dumb. Why would I want to hurt for something when I can get it for not hurting? And then the North are just like, we're going to fucking smash you in the face. We're going to win. And then you're going to hate us because we keep telling you we're going to win. And I think that's, one of the best things about Impact is their heels aren't just chicken shit heels.
Yeah, they ain't built like chickens either. Cause damn WXL turned on the last edition of Impact. I'm like, look, man, people could talk about the AEW's tag team division. We talked about it, but them, the Deaners, these ain't no like guys to be played with. Like that multi tag match was a cluster F, but that double XL, those guys are legit competition, and to see those guys potentially like just go after people like the North or to try to take out the Dinas or whatnot, I dig that. You know, guys like Reno Scum who apparently took out Ba and Perkins. Obviously, our thoughts and prayers go with Ba Perkins, I guess, by proxy. Um,
Our
but
our prayers are with Fala. Our thoughts are with Fala.
yeah, yeah, but look, man, like you said, now that the machine guns are back, good brothers. This is the right time to have those straps on guys
The
like the
North.
North.
I agree. Falaba like twists his ankle and he's just like, TJP breaks like 48 bones in a car accident. TJ's like, I'm dying. Fala's like, I sprained my ankle. I'm like, it's all right, Fala. We're going to get you to the hospital. TJP's like, help me. Fala, don't go in the light. I got you. We must
Damn it, see,
protect
this would be the
Fala.
perfect time. This would be the perfect time to have him saved by this ominous smoke, and you know where I'm going with this. But we can't get that anymore. Oh
Oh, James Mitchell. Right?
no,
No?
the other dun, 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 the other smoke, the smoke show.
Oh. Yes, Scarlet Bordeaux.
Like, oh, don't go into the smoke. No, no, go into the smoke.
Take us with
We want,
you.
we want the smoke.
So, the knockout title match, it definitely was. Oh, by the by, Machine Guns came out after the North match, challenged the North to a match on Tuesday. While I want to see the Machine Guns eventually win gold again, I just don't want it to be anytime soon. Because I want the North title run to go forever. But if they lose it to the Machine Guns, I'm fine with that. So Pratzo and Gordon, god damn it. Jordan Grace, I think I might be dyslexic. Jordan Grace and Pratzo had a match. It wasn't bad, but Pratzo definitely was gassed early into the match. You know, she definitely needs to work on her cardio. Anyone who wants to refute that didn't pay attention. People need to remember that Pratzo has a lot of like hype around her in-ring work. And I don't know if it's justified, because sometimes guys get like, look at Bray Wyatt. Everyone's like, Bray Wyatt's such a good wrestler. Bitch, have you seen him wrestle? He does like 3 things, and they're all bad. But he's a cool enough character that people don't care. I don't know if Pratzo is as good as people want to hype her up to be. But she's definitely got to work on her cardio. She's definitely got to get better. Because like Jordan Grace, I thought really fucking slammed on the brakes in this match just so Pratzo could keep up with her. Because Grace was running fucking roughshod on her. And I know people are going to be like, it's scripted. What do you... No, I mean, you know, when Pratzo took a bump, she was like, when Grace was like screaming and like, you know, thrusting herself 15 minutes in the match, you know, getting her face kicked in and all that, she's barely making a sound. Like, I don't want to say Grace embarrassed Pratzo, but Grace embarrassed Pratzo. Like, Grace was in such better shape and just handled the match so much better than Pratzo. It made the title change just feel so unneeded. Like, Pratzo came in with all this hype and all this glamour, and then 3 minutes in, you can hear her sucking wind already. And it's like, I thought you were supposed to be the virtuoso one, not the every other, you know, person in the audience one. Like, come on. Like, you cannot put... And I know Tessa's a shitbag, but you can't go from people like Taya, Tess, and Jordan to Deanna and not go, that's a downgrade. This match wasn't what everyone thought it was. This match wasn't as good as it could have been, and Deanna needs to fix that. I don't doubt she can be good. When Lance Storm vouches for you, I don't have a reason to, you know, not be in your corner. But I don't think she was as ready for this match as she should have been, and that's something she needs to work on.
Yeah, and it's definitely gonna be interesting seeing how fast they deviate from this whole thing with Grace. Because personally, we booked a better match.
Yeah, we did.
We just did, and again we actually booked like 2 or 3 matches with this whole thing, and this would have given her time, um, Damn, that actually would have been even better. With the match we booked for the Grace to be like, I totally outclassed you in that match.
Hmm.
You're a bum. You're not a virtuosa. You're a winded osa.
Windosa.
Winded
Legadium
osa.
Windiosa.
Like beat at you, bum. And then instead of and flipping the idea that you had, where it's basically in this scenario, like Deanna turns into the Mr. T and Rocky's in the gym, in this, training with all this public, this security and all this PR around. Um, that would have been cool. But again, like I don't want to say it came off like the old days of TNA. Like we sign you, you get a belt. Like,
That's how it felt.
oh, I hate that. Like I like Deanna, but I hate that Grace. Like we talked about this too. Like she won the belt, but how often have we seen her like that? Because of this whole quarantine thing. So she's had it for a while, but she's not necessarily had a line of defenses like that. Like she's been around, but not as much as she could have been. So that kind of take off of her reign, and then you drop it like this, and it's like, oh. But what do you flip flop the belt situation, or do you give Deanna a run? If you give Deanna a run, I hope she doesn't take. How long do we have her? Because that's a question with the logic in the company.
Oh god, you hit so many concerns I have. One, Diana, I don't think that you take wrestling as a joke, but I do think you need to be more serious to your craft. Because if you're going to live up to that nickname of the Virtuosa, I'm thinking you're goddamn Bret Hart with a bra. So you better live up to that fucking expectation. Secondly, as far as a title reign goes, I'm not necessarily always in favor of long title reigns, and I'm not always in favor of, hot-shotting title reigns because it becomes predictable. In WCW, you always knew someone was going to lose the belt. In New Japan, they started to sell you on the idea that why would you care if Minoru Suzuki took on Okada? You know he's not going to win. But it was still a good match, so you're like, all right, it's still fun. But you knew he wasn't going to win. So I think the thing that wrestling needs to do is get back to the idea and the element of surprise. Don't always sell us on the idea that the big events are the ones where people are always going to lose at, or don't sell us on the idea that it's always going to be the third month outside of a pay-per-view that someone loses at. You got to be more. You got to change up the flow. So I don't know how I want this Deanna Purrazzo title reign to go. What I'm noticing specifically of the X division, it doesn't necessarily matter how good the title reign is comparatively, in length. Because you look at Rich Swann and Jake Christ, both had great title reigns, both vastly different lengths. You look at Willie Mack, not so great, not anything to do with him, but he didn't have the same level of competition. He didn't remake his entire gimmick. Rich Swann faced every main eventer he could, and Jake Christ redefined his entire character. If Deanna Purrazzo is able to do something of that ilk, it could be 90 days or 900 days. Just make sure that it's interesting and that it has a positive effect when you lose it. Like, make sure that you are better off when you're done with the belt than you were when you started it. And that's something I cannot say about Willie Mack. Willie Mack, to me, did not trend upward as champion. Maybe because he couldn't get to as many shows. Maybe they didn't have enough for him. Maybe because he was supposed to do that thing with Swan. So they shuffle everything on the fly. Who knows? Yeah. But Mack didn't improve his stock with that run.
Yeah.
But if Purrazzo can, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you switch the Hunter and the Hunted thing, because Jordan Graces have some very terrifying, pissed off faces.
Like, poor John Grisham.
Like that woman is like she could do a stare off with the Hulk. She got them kind of faces. If you make it a situation, because she was very much the Hunted, until that contract signing where she just slammed her face and told Jimmy to piss off. That was funny. What are you gonna do, Jimmy? Huh? Nothing. I'm not gonna do a thing. But if you turn her into this crazed person that's obsessed with getting the thing, and now she turns into Purrazzo's stalker, that could be something. Because now you almost have to maim her to get her off you. So, you know.
And I think that's part of my issue with taking the belt off Jordan. If you know me, I've not been super fan of Jordan Grace as a critical thinker. I think a lot of her ideas, what's the text, suck. But I don't think she's a bad person, right? Like, she's never done anything that makes me go, oh, fuck her. I don't want her in my company. No, hell of a hand, hell of a good person. You know, everything about her makes sense. And she's dedicated, which is the thing that I look for in wrestling. She's a bodybuilding buff, and I say this with all due respect, she's a buff bitch, and I love it. And there's a part of me that is super fucking angry that Jordan's not champion because you could have booked her like you should have booked Scott Steiner in 1992 where he won the world title and didn't lose it for forever. She's like on that level of in terms of as a female athlete, she's stronger than everyone. She's larger than everyone, even if she's not taller than everyone. She's believable. She wrestled, I think, in high school, so she's got that base down. She's super fucking strong. Like, she should never have lost that belt for not never, but like for at least a year. Like, she should have redefined that entire division. So to go with the new hotness again, maybe not necessarily in the knockouts division, but in general, it really pisses me off. And to see Purrazzo have really just a weak ass performance after all this hype, not even just with the company, but with the industry at large, and everyone's kind of milking themselves over how good Deanna is. Like, oh, Deanna's so good. And listen, she's from my motherland. She's Italian. I want her to succeed, right? But I have to call hack ass when I see hack ass, and she was hack ass in that match. She'll get better, hopefully. She had a long ass layoff. Like, she had from March she had 2 matches. One where she jobbed to Shotzi, and I love Shotzi. Shotzi, why did Impact ever let Shotzi? God damn it, Impact, you suck. Why did you let Shotzi Blackheart go? And the other one was a squash match to Nia Jax, and I'm pretty sure Purrazzo suffered 38 concussions and 70,000 broken bones because Nia Jax just sucks. So I'm sure she needs time to reacclimate, and she probably didn't know she was coming into Impact right before the last set of tapings, truthfully. So maybe she wasn't hitting the cardio as hard. Maybe she wasn't hitting the ropes as hard. But I hope that does change as champion because she has to live up to the legacies of these amazing women before her. Taya, Gail, fucking Jordan, Awesome Kong. Like, you better be bringing some real bangers with you, girl, because you got some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I don't want Jordan, and I don't want Jordan to get lost in the shuffle because she was in a very middling place when she was kind of caught up in the Save Ali Soul thing between Rosemary with Kira trying to be an aide, and she kind of got she was just the buff side assistant with that, and I was like Jordan's she could be doing so much more. So when they finally got her out of that and they put her on the right path towards the title, I was happy, and then she finally got it, and then. But I am looking at the logic of this because, like you said, they are going with the new hotness, and it's different. It is different with Bae, and I'm glad we talked this out because, like you said, there was no upward momentum with Mac. And thankfully with Mac, he's now somebody that necessarily needs a title, but it was good to see him with it as opposed to Grace, like you said, she basically could have redefined that division, and somebody's like you. Going against the incredible Hulk S. You should build it up, but we'll see. But it's gonna be on the Deanna to make a break because we were talking about I guess how other people talking about Deanna about Tessa, but she checked all the boxes.
Yep.
Obviously, this is pre that whole deal, but she checked all the boxes and she got better. As everything went on. So we'll see, but I root for her because I want her to win, but
I don't want any of my criticism to sound like I'm against Deanna because I want her to do well. But yeah. I'm letting her know, I'm letting you know at home, I'm letting you know, Marcus, and I'm letting anyone who's remotely interested that to be remembered as something special, you have to do the work of someone special. Otherwise, you're just another name to the list. You look at Tessa when she showed up in NXT, she was maybe 105 pounds. She looked like every other girl at the bar. She wasn't out of shape, but she was tiny. She had no definition. By the time she dropped the knockout title, she's looking like goddamn, a fucking bodybuilder extreme. Like her and Jordan were workout partners. She had fucking abs on abs on abs, and I'm just sitting there going, I could probably play a bunch of sports balls off of those abs. Could probably dribble.
Yeah, man.
But that happened over time, and it's not impossible. It's not even hard. It's managing your diet, not having food. Like, that's not what I'm saying. You need to eat to get that kind of body. You need to eat properly, though. You can't just eat fucking Cinnabons like Bully Ray does. That slobby, fat fucking bastard. Fuck you, Bully Ray. I'll fat shame Bully Ray until I'm dead. Fuck that dude.
Well, somebody should. But thank all the wrestling gods we didn't get him tonight.
Oh, dude, Marcus, hand to God, if Bully had come out as the 4th or 5th man, I may have never turned Impact on again.
I would have literally took to Twitter and be like, "This is me and my good buddy right now," and it would have been that call to give no all across the floor. That was like,
and then Will and Carlton hug. We were wrong about that. I thought it was because Ashley lost her virginity, but it was because Will and his girlfriend, or soon-to-be girlfriend, the one that he ended the series with, he came back home after a night out where she was trying to join a sorority. So they hung her. The girls hung him up, and he's like, "I'm a dog. I'm a dog." And what was her name? Lisa. And she's just smiling there. That smile. And then like Will comes home and he's like, "Carlton, Lisa went crazy, man." He's like, what are you talking about, Will? And he's like, "She was getting crazy. She came at me, and I hit her. I didn't mean to hit her with a shovel, but I hit her." And Carlton's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, she's still up there, man." And he's like, "No!" And that's when he starts freaking out. So that's even better. So I have all the faith in the world for Deanna because I am taking into the fact that quarantine is it's hit us all differently. I'm starting to get my my definition back because I've been working out in my sauna of a fucking office the last 3 or 4 weeks. It helps burn off so much excess fat when you're just sweating for no reason. Like even when I'm just typing, I'm sweating like just like drenching my computer in sweat because of how hot it is.
And not to bring up potential triggers, but you also have to be in shape to be on high alert for wildlife. Between that damn bird and whatever killed that bunny, you got to be.
Marcus,
for some group analysis to get up. You know what I'm saying?
Mark, hand to God. The night after it happened, because like if you guys don't know this, I went out one night to go get something from the corner, and I stepped in bunny guts. Thumper died on my doorstep. Something had killed it and was eating it, and I came out in the middle of it, apparently. So I had to clean that up. That wasn't fun. But the next night, I went out, and I had a 12-inch mag light that I used to have when I was doing private security. Because, like, what's that? It's a flashlight? Bonk. No, it's a fucking fuck-off stick. So I brought that thing out with me. I'm just like, all right, bitches. I'm assuming it was a raccoon and or feral cat. But in case it's the chupacabra, I'm fucking ready.
Oh man. Yeah. Between that and that damn, what that was, a peregrine falcon or an eagle?
It was some type of falcon, man. Nearly raked my head when I was coming back from a run back in what was that, April? It was at the start of quarantine, I think. Yeah, and so I just fucking I fucking hard decked it like someone on a Top Gun cruiser when Maverick's flying by. I just dropped like, oh god, not today.
Chad can't afford to be shamrocking across the parking lot. Like,
no, I cannot. I'm trying to get back into shape. I don't need to go to see the doctor saying, all right, how'd you lose your eye? Were you in the Rey Mysterio Seth Rollins match? No, nothing is terrible. No. Falcon just took it out. Oh, okay. I was thinking that we were going to have to put you down because how could you ever recover from such a stupid-ass match? I agree, doctor. I agree.
No, I lost my eye logically to nature.
Yes. Apparently, I had not paid my bird tax in a while, and they came to collect. All right. Main event time. Who do you think Perazzo should go off? Well, I guess it's gonna be Kylie. Do you have faith in Kylie and Perazzo? I think it's very interesting, especially if Perazzo can have a much more cathartic experience, if you will.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's definitely. I think the personality types could be a good clashing because she obviously thinks she's better than anybody. Like this is, the virtuoso doesn't come down to do, dangle with the smiley Kylie peasants, and then she could go from that smiling thing to a serious thing and like slap the taste out of her mouth or something like that, kind of like what we got in that contract sign. I think that could create some very interesting dynamics on TV. I mean, they've definitely shown as a company they could create a lot of great segments that wouldn't normally work on paper, but it's these characters that they're doing with that make it. Like I said, that freaking arm wrestling thing was ridiculous, but it turned out to be one of the most entertaining things they've done this year. But yeah, that'll definitely be interesting to see what they do with that and how long. Like, do they immediately tap into that with Kylie? Does Jordan even get a rematch? That whole deal. So it'll be interesting, definitely to see what they do with that.
Well, Bound for Glory has been announced for I think the 24th of October. Let's double check. I'm not going to double check the date. I'm nearly positive it's the 24th. So it's going to be another Saturday. I would imagine that, with all due respect to Kylie, and I think Kylie's been phenomenal, I don't think you'd go into Bound for Glory with Kylie unless you spend the next 2 months doing the Jordan rematch and building Kylie up independently. I think maybe then you have a chance. But I have a feeling they're going to do another one of those TV specials because I don't see them going back to doing any Impact Plus events this year. At least not until after October at the earliest. So I think you're gonna have to do like another TV special, and I think that's where you do either Kylie or Jordan, depending on what you want to go into Bound for Glory with. And if it's Kylie for Bound for Glory, I hope that she's getting some really good matches out of the rest of the division, because one of the things that we need is for her to look good in these matches. I don't need her to go 20 minutes with fucking Taya, right? You can give me 2.5 minutes with Jessica Havoc as long as Kylie looks dominant. Because that's the thing. Wrestling fans think they're so smart. Like, oh my God, you need to give me 60-minute Okada Omega. No, what we need to see is you doing your job. It's very subconscious with a wrestling fan. If you book someone to be taken seriously, we will take them seriously. How else do you think Ryback got over in 2012? He was booked to be taken seriously. So we took him seriously.
Yeah. See, man. Now I'm imagining a triple threat where Grace is just done. She's done. She's damn near heel at this point. And 1 week she comes out like Perazzo and Kyla do like a little face off, and then Grace is just done with all of it, and yeets them both up, and we get like a double bear hug.
Oh, that would be great. Does Grace have long enough arms though for that? Because she and I got them. We got them T-Rex boxing arms. I swear to God, if you put me and Jordan Grace next to each other, you're gonna be like, you guys look so much alike in terms of body types. We're both as wide as we are tall, right? Like our shoulders are huge compared to our height. Wait, what's the dumb fucking thing? You're not as tall as your height or something like that. Oh God, that's basically me at the moment. So main event time. God, I was so mad. I was so Marcus, I was rage quitting. Oh my God, I saw Swan. I'm like, nope, don't do it. Don't. And it's not any disrespect to Swan. You cannot sell me on big surprises and then give me Rich Swann. That's not a surprise. That's a disappointment.
Not even that. Like, if this is gonna be a former world champion. What? That's a former X Division champion. We know everything. Like, I sound like Woody. Like, it's great to see him back.
So play
nice. So
same
like,
brain.
it's like I love him, his legs back working. But what the freak? He just comes out dancing like they literally just threw him a lob in this match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was, like, and after the cluster F on Impact with that tag match, like, to me, you do what you did with like the Guns and the Rascals, and you throw that to XL and the Deaners. You didn't need that many, but they literally dismissed 2 whole teams so that we could get a logical tag match. That didn't need to happen. You could have just had the freaking Reno Scum just attack followed by TJP while he was back there trying to get Ba to make better food choices or something like that. And then we could have just got a quality match between, size matters and the Deaners. But
Size matters.
Like, why did they do this still? I like Swan, but this wasn't it. And then when they finally brought the other guy, I was like, okay, all right, well, yeah, all right. I guess.
So the other guy.
Rage quit?
Oh, dude, Marcus, I was angry tweeting. Full 100%. I accept that. I was full on, full bore. Fuck this. And then I saw apparently Pyron Jitsu does not like Rich Swann.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm looking through because I retweeted some. So Rich Swann comes out first, right, of all the mystery guys. And they tweet out, Rich Swann, I hate you now. I hate you more now than ever before. Fulton, kill Rich Swann. And then later on, after Eric Young destroys his knee, they tweet out, fuck your knee, Rich. And then the coup de grace. Mwah! The creme de la creme. Susie, come get your bitch.
Oh.
And I was so mad that Impact swerved us like that. I'm like, I wanted EC3, or you can see me leave. So I was mad, man. I was so mad. And then, like, everyone starts getting eliminated. I'm like, they're going to put on Ace Austin. The one mother... I don't even want Trey to do it. I don't want Ace to do it. I damn sure don't want Eric Young to do it. Fuck Rich Swann. Like, what? No. You gave me nothing? So you better give me Eddie Edwards winning, or I'm going to be mad. And then they gave it to me.
Point where I thought, when I thought they was finna chunk Edwards off, I'm like, you bastards, don't do this.
Oh,
don't
my God. Freaking... Marcus, as soon as he hit that Boston knee party and Ace kicked out, my head went into my hands, and I just went, no, not like this.
See,
I felt like that, and not to interrupt you, but I felt like that blonde chick in the first Matrix movie. You've seen the first Matrix movie, right? Remember when, like, the crazy dude's killing everyone by yanking out their cords while they're sleeping, or, like, in the Matrix, and they're all just dying? And, like, the blonde chick's on top of the one guy who just died, and she's like, no. Not like this. That's how I felt. I'm like, Ace is going to hit that fold, and then Eddie's gone, and I'm going to be pissed.
Oh, they did, because they did this thing where he folded him, and the ref hit the one immediately. Mm-hmm. I was like, no! Oh, God!
Oh, God, no! No! Oh, God! And then Eddie kicks out, like,
And then everything got cool. It was cool seeing. I gotta say, it was cool seeing EY. He came back looking better than he did the last time I saw him. In terms of presentation, anyway. It's gonna be real seeing what they do with him. That's freaking Swinger found that costume. That would have been hilarious. Like, that guy got options now.
So, can I say this, and I think you'll find this funny? I don't like to generalize races. It's not my thing. It's not what I do, but this needs to be said. Every black dude on Twitter that I follow was yussing over Eric Young. Every white dude on Twitter was like, fucking Eric Young. And I'm like, how did Eric Young become so popular among the black community? I don't get it. Because I'm pretty sure every white dude was like, nah, we're good, Eric. And every black dude's like, yeah, Eric Young. I'm like, all right, I don't get it.
Yeah, and just our luck, some racist tweets resurfaced this week. But
whoa, no, Eric, don't do it. Start deleting tweets now.
What was all that racism when he was champion? It was in his beard. But
now, to be clear, we don't know that Eric Young has ever tweeted anything racist. We're just saying it would be our luck that it would come out this week of all weeks. Because apparently that's what needs to happen in wrestling nowadays.
Yeah, that shave your porn stash off to explain yourself.
Oof.
Hashtag
no porn stashes.
no porn stashes, no excuses. But yeah, they pulled a trick. I got to say, man, they put together an entertaining match. Like five got look a triple threat. Just a regular one-on-one match is a thing. Triple threat. That's the whole deal. Fatal four way could be done, but you had a fifth person in there. You really got to be in sync. So those guys did a really good job of keeping things kind of as copacetic as possible, getting their stuff in, and clearly running me and you through the ringer emotionally when it came on Final Two. So you got to give it to them, and they got the good result. And I mean, look, like we talked about it with Trey, and then him and Trey had a pretty actually good go home brawl. I thought
Mm-hmm.
on that last show, that was some good stuff. The way that they brought it to a different location, the way they used that environment to their advantage. The whole Wentz coming with him to kind of be a distraction. Freaking what you call it was hauling ass on Wentz.
Oh, Fulton.
Oh yeah, that dude was hauling ass. But but yeah, him just being obsessed with Austin, just it made perfect sense. I mean, it got to a point where he clearly didn't even he saved he saved Austin so he could keep fighting him. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, get this kid out of here. But it made perfect sense with what they were doing. So when you throw in little stuff like that, clearly they put a lot of thought into this match, and we finally got Edwards being crowned, and he got cut off at the knees twice, but in a good way.
So you're right. The structure of the match has got to be hard to memorize. And I will say this, as far as swerves go, bringing out Swan to piss everyone off, fair enough. And then you bring in Eric Young. Granted, I'm not really sure that was the way to go. I think it would have been, because like Swan coming out pissed people off. Let's be honest. And it's not because he's Rich Swann or anything. It's because you've been hyping up Kurt Angle, Sting, EC3, Eli Drake, James Storm. Then we get Swan. Like, oh, that's disappointing. But if you had come out with Eric Young first and then brought in Swan, I think maybe the reactions would have been a bit different. Still, and here's the thing. I think they knew. I think thinking about the match entirely, they wanted to put the belt on Eddie. And they don't want to put EC3 in any title scenes right off the bat, especially with a loss. So they're like, we're gonna just not do EC3. And I guarantee you, Marcus, like I will fucking believe this till the day I die. I guarantee you that I bet you it was supposed to be Rusev in this match instead of Swan. I wouldn't have been surprised. But Rusev got COVID, so he legit can't do anything. So I think either Swan or Young were a last-minute kind of addition. More than likely, Swan was. So it ended up being a good match. Like taking my emotions out of it, it was a really well done match. And the thing with Eric Young was, they really could have built him up if they had sacrificed the mid cards to him. Because like he took out Trey with a really nice pile driver, and if he had done the same to Swan, and then to Ace, and then gone with Eddie, I think you would have rebuilt Eric Young in one night. But they didn't, and I think that, to me, I think that shows that they don't want to have Eric in the main event scene, which is fine. I'm not going to be angry about it. And Eric's not a guy that I don't want on the roster. He's just not a guy I want in the main event scene. So going in the direction they went with, getting the wins on the guys that they got, I thought everything turned out the best case scenario. Eddie wins. Then, of course, post-match, Ace and Sawyer get back involved, and the Good Brothers come out, and you think they're going to join forces, and the Good Brothers beat up Ace and Sawyer. Then you had Eddie, Anderson, and Gallows kind of sharing a beer before you see 3 hash marks pop up, and then you cut to a vignette where we see EC3 on the screen, and that was cool as fuck. I was so happy. I was like, I was like a little kid again. It was great. I loved the way they did it. I loved it. It was great. I loved it.
Right, they turned freaking Chad into a diener for 2 seconds. But
I'll rep the Deaners too. Seriously, I'm saying this. If it had been Cody Deaner instead of Rich Swann, I would have been more into it. I love Cody Deaner. He's just so likable. You don't expect him to win. Like, it's like bringing your favorite dog to a dog competition. but like your dog is like part boxer, part like wolf, part elephant. Like it's a fucking mutt, but you love it. You don't expect him to place. You're just there for a good time, and that's Cody Deaner.
It's a fucking butt. We fed in the state. But yeah, man, like it's funny because when that came up on the screen, everything internally said EC3, but I saw those 3 marks. I'm like, wait a minute. I immediately went to freaking promo from New Japan.
Yes.
All you do is count the 3 in the dark. I was like, if they would have been Jay White, Chad, you would have heard Chad flip all the equipment in his house from Cleveland.
Everyone would have heard at the same time, just like that loud. You're not sure where it's coming from, but it's coming from it.
It's the Bully Ray tier, and then it's that.
No, well, if you're talking about Bully Ray tier top, then Jay White, yes. Honestly, as much as I don't like Jay White, if it had been Jay White, because he was on the move earlier today. So who knows where he was going, right? And who knows when he actually went? Could have left 3 days ago for all we know. But had it been Jay White, I wouldn't have liked it, but it would have been so much better than Eric Young. Like, because at least Jay White is seen as a main event guy, even if he's not. But I think all things considered, it was the right call. They did everything right, especially with how they intended to end it. It made sense across the board.
I mean, think about it. They got the good brothers because people was like, I wish we could have got, I wish they would have said that reveal. I'm like, nah, man, you can reveal that, get that out the way. Like, the best thing about them is they personalities are going to be on full display. They can go. It's not debatable. But their personalities, their level of freedom, the whole promo work and everything going to be on full display. They're not going to be, and I know that was that was more than what we got, but it very much felt like they was AJ's backup dancers. Mm-hmm. There ain't gonna be no backup dancers here. Not even the Edwards. Like, they're gonna have their own swag to me anyway. And then, so you end the show with a bang like that, on a great note with Edwards. And then that EC3 thing immediately makes you tune into the next Impact.
Oh yeah.
And it so shows they didn't blow their load and just put him in a match, that they're gonna do the work to get us introduced, to reintroduce the EC3, because this is not the same guy that was, taking out legends, back in Impact all those years ago, and even, after that, what we got. So, yeah, man, it's exciting. Oh, you talk about it's the effing mutt. We got the one man band, baby, on this show.
And honestly, I was just about to bring him up too. I absolutely adored what they did with Heath Slater.
Nice.
I did.
Yeah, it's funny. I think I got to kind of warm to. I did not like his promo necessarily. Like, I feel like he's still finding himself on the mic in a way. Mm-hmm. I think it was easy for him when he was just going on that 3MB thing, because it was such a repetitive beat with that whole gimmick. But I think he's finding himself on the mic with this newness that he's experiencing. But I did like the Rohit, and Rohit is the right guy to play off of, because that great segment that they did on Impact with him and Moose, when he was like, "I'm your last resort. Your last resort. Do you know who I am?" So you gonna tag me? And of course I'm gonna tag with you. You should have just, all you gotta do was hype me up. It's like that dude. That dude's a lot of potential with Rohit, man. It'd be funny if they end up tagging. That'd be hilarious. But
well,
go
on.
Yeah,
No, go on.
I know they gonna do some stuff with Rhino, like that whole thing. Like the whole one thing, we got one mention of COVID on this show, and it was to kick him out.
So the one thing that I really liked about it was Rohit's kind of become the Heath Slater of Impact. Everyone loves him, but they're really not doing a lot with him. Now, granted, he's doing a lot more with Impact now than he has been, even if he's not winning all the time. So I think that's a good thing. And the stuff with Heath, like specifically his gimmick, I don't think he should be that far away from the one-man band in terms of like that kind of over-the-top rock and roll personality. Like that kind of like, hard rock kind of demeanor, I think really works for him, but you got to book him better than what he was presented as. And here's the thing that I think people need to realize. You can build somebody up, but you got to start from the bottom. You can't just throw Heath Slater into the main event. Granted, this was a main event of mid-Carter, so you maybe could have, and expect people to get over with him. But if you put him with Rohit, maybe you do a run with Rhino. Maybe you then turn him heel. Maybe turn Rhino heel, and you do a feud with them. And then you bring him up the ranks and maybe have him go with, Chris Bay for a little while. And then maybe you do, you keep going up the ranks. Maybe you can build him up to something special. But you got to start at the bottom. And I think they did the right thing. He got a nice little moment, kind of like a little rebel renegade thing. And maybe that's the route they're going to go. Like, they're just going to make him a rebel of sorts. That might be interesting. He's certainly talented enough. So I'm very interested to see where they go with that, and the whole Rhino bit at the end before he got quote unquote kicked out was great. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him and how they use him going forward. It's definitely going to be interesting, I think.
Yeah, like man, I'm already getting flashes for. They got so much coal to be minded, which is a great thing. Instead of just having diamonds, well, like cubic zirconia that you're touting as diamonds just sitting on the shelf, But they got a lot of great code to be made. Like, and now I'm in my mind, I'm imagining Rhino and then he tagging back up, and like they're like Hernandez and Rhino going back at it. Like, you know what? You get a partner, we'll meet up in the ring. And then he goes against Rohit, and he's just border tossing him into people. Border tossing Rohit into people like a freaking javelin, and that becomes like a new, almost like when Hernandez tagged with Chavo, except we like Rohit more. So, they got a lot of options. I just hope they go with the right ones, because they could bungle a lot of this. They could bungle a lot of this stuff. Like, it's almost an anomaly what's going on with like guys like Swinger and Bravo, but they're just letting those guys go. So hopefully they find that medium with talents that can actually get in that ring and put in some work.
I do agree that it's kind of an anomaly that this is happening, but not an Impact. You know what I mean? Like, if it was any other company, yeah, like this shouldn't be working as well as it has. But think about, like, I was not all right with Johnny Swinger coming in. Like, I thought it was dumb, but they turned him into such a great, worthwhile character. And like, even Rob Van Dam, like, I thought he was going to come in and just be completely insufferable, but they've only used him sparingly. So when he's on TV, it actually kind of gives you some name value. Tommy Dreamer, same thing. Like, they use talents very correctly, and with the exception of some booking decisions, like putting belts on guys, who, in a last-ditch attempt to get them to stay, I don't see them making a lot of mistakes character-wise. And like, when you think of someone like Allie, she fucked her entire career up by leaving. I don't know what she's doing in AEW, but it's not something people are talking about. That's for sure. But you look at her during Impact, they made her a star. Like, on the indies, she was cherry bombed. She just didn't have great matches, and she wasn't really a personality that people cared about. But then they dye her hair, and they make her kind of like a mousy character, and all of a sudden she becomes super fucking popular. Granted, different regime, but the idea is still the same. This company does great work when it's given the opportunity to do something different with someone. I'm super excited to see what they do with I'm blanking on all the names. EC3, Heath, Deanna, even Kylie Ray, like the Good Brothers.
Yeah, Good Brothers, EY, and then who knows? This might have been just the start of some of the surprises, because they could say some of that stuff for tapers. But speaking of RVD, my one sore spot in that damn Battle Royal was Katie Ford. What the freak was that?
I believe they call that a rump shaker.
Save that. No. We could turn this into a Lil Booties Matter campaign, because that was you put Hogan next to her, and Hogan got just the right amount of turkey for Thanksgiving, if you know what I'm saying. So, but yeah, she botched throwing Alicia into the ropes. I'm like, okay, just roll out. Just Gail Kim yourself. This was not needed. You was not, you work really well with Rob. No disrespect to her or her, You do you, however you do your aesthetics, but that you did not fit well with this dynamic.
No.
Like we talked about all them women, and her name didn't come up once.
And she's not a good wrestler, and it has nothing to do with her aesthetic. She's not athletic, and like we know it, we see it. Some people just aren't athletic, and they don't have what it takes. Katie Forbes is, for all intents and purposes, a body, and that's fine. So that's kind of where we're at with that. As far as yeah.
No, just I think it was funny because Josh, freaking Don Callis is hilarious. Josh was like, "What do you think about her outfit, Don?" No comment. I ain't got nothing to say on that.
Honestly, I'd rather it be Madison than Don. Granted, I'd rather it be no one than Josh, but I mean, we need someone.
What's he gonna do?
Right? Like, you know, we can't get rid of Josh as much as I'd like to. All right, overall ranking for the show, Marcus. What grade would you give it?
Man, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give this. It got a lot of points finally getting that damn belt on, what you call it, and clearly, like even people, I want to say, because Taya and Rosemary tweeted out some good stuff. They put out a really great video on Eddie Edwards before the match.
Mm-hmm.
That's Twitter, and I feel like even the guys in the match would have been behind Eddie if it wouldn't have just looked stupid for him to do it while they was in the actual match before the match. I feel like everybody was rooting for Eddie, so to me, I'm gonna give this show a B+ for the fact that this whole thing, everything that they've been building up to with these, the images and whatnot and the video packages, and I like how they opened the show with the guy reporting like the wait is over. This is the thing. The guy watching the TV, like, was that EC3? It could have been somebody else. Who knows? But like I thought they did a really great job building stuff up, and executing it, putting the Good Brothers out before the show got buzz that had, if for no other reason than just to piss off AEW fans, which is hilarious to watch on Twitter, by the way. And again, like I said, finally putting that belt on Elvis, I got to get a show a B+, man.
I'm gonna give it an A-. I got to admit that while I was hate tweeting the main event at first because I was so scared, I got to say they booked it right. You know, like if I was sitting there going with, well, our big return is EC3, do we want him to lose in the main event? No, you don't. So you save him until post-match. So then who do we put in the main event? We need some former world champion. Well, let's just do Eric Young if we can't get anyone else because who else is available? All right, so then who else do we put in there to kind of, bulk the match up a bit name value-wise? Let's go with Rusev. Well, Rusev's just got COVID-19. Better see if Rich Swann's available then. So, like, it all makes sense. It may not have been perfect, but with what they were trying to do, it worked. I, for one, would have had a much different main event in the first place. I wouldn't have put Trey and Ace in there in the first place at all, even with Elgin and Tessa on brand. But that's what they decided to do, and it made sense because I thought it was going to be a King of the Mountain match. But when they didn't go that way, I'm like, why didn't you just put RVD in the main event then? Like, put some name value in there. So I would have done things a little bit differently, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's interesting, but again, like to me, we talk about obviously you and Zach in depth talk about the good and the bad of the show every week. Go check out Making the Impact on all platforms, which you can find, real NerdCorp. But to me, like the one thing they consistently need to get around and that they gained this weekend was buzz. Like they were trending all day. And it wasn't because they had to drop somebody else from the company or some other shenanigery. So, to me that's good. They got everybody talking, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be tuned in. All the salty people that are pissed at Anderson and Gallows, they can go to AEW. Now they've got EC3 back where some idiot is like, oh my God, he's going to flounder in the Impact. He should have stayed in WWE. I'm like, if he could get any worse than where he was in WWE, it's death.
It's 6 feet under, bro.
It's literal death.
So if you see anyone who says that, send them my way, because I have about 164 different cases to disprove that theory. As far as Gallows and Anderson going to Impact, I don't know why any AEW fan would be butthurt about it. Mostly because Gallows tweeted out a photo of him in an Impact T-shirt 2 weeks ago. We've known that they were coming in 3 weeks ago. Like, this isn't new, and I'm glad that they revealed it when they did the night before because it wasn't a surprise. We were anticipating it, but it's not like, oh, we're surprised it was the Good Brothers. No, we knew they were coming. My big concern was the Good Brothers were hyping up their new podcast, right? And they're like, I don't remember who's on it, but it was like EC3 and like Heath Slater and like maybe Rhino was on it and like Eddie Edwards and I'm like, oh god, like these are looking like Impact names. And then I see Enzo and I'm like, oh no, because I started thinking that they're interviewing all these guys that might be coming to Impact, and I see Enzo and I'm like, no. But then the night went and no Enzo, so thumbs up. I don't know how it ended on an Enzo debut. I really don't.
You don't get rid of the Chris, the Elgin, the naturally Zoe Ryan, and Tessa, and then freaking bring in Enzo. Whether we we covered that evenly, and they just held that to the standard. It should have been that whole controversy with him. Come on, man, you don't freaking need Enzo. Like, Swinger and Bravo carry enough wackiness to cover whatever that guy would bring, and you got somebody. And Rohit is the all the small guy you need.
Mm-hmm.
You freaking need Enzo. So hopefully if there are any more surprises, they aren't in that realm. And I'm guessing the Aces and Eights thing was a long tease, if you will.
Well, like,
we'll see.
Ken Anderson made the most sense, right? Instead of it being Eric Young, Ken Anderson made the most sense. He's former world champion. He's got some name value, and D'Lo just did that tease with the Aces and Eights.
Yeah.
If we get that on Impact, that's fine. I would still dig it. So we'll see what happens.
I actually thought they teased it. I thought Swinger dropped his name at the top of the show with the rent-a-car segment.
I think he meant Carl Anderson. See,
Yeah,
now here's the problem. We got possibly 2 Andersons coming in. Possibly. We'll see.
So, but yeah, man, I think again it was an overall successful show. Like you said, they've done a great job, and not oversaturating stuff. Like they have so much time and weeks and stuff to build that they could build these great video packages and whatnot. Because these shows are so spaced out and rightfully so. Hopefully they don't go back to like a packed schedule like like other companies. But yeah, man, like I said, they got the one thing they consistently need this weekend, and that's buzz. I just hope they can keep it up with these. Do they do a new set of tapings this week or what?
Yes. They're set up in Nashville for the week, so they're going to be filming stuff, I would imagine, Monday through Wednesday, maybe even longer, depending on how long they intend to go. I would imagine they're filming anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks of stuff, so we'll see. Obviously, we won't have any spoilers.
Yeah, so I'm just looking forward to it. This was a good night. I think definitely going forward they definitely should do these pay-per-views on Saturdays.
Yes.
Because Sundays is like that thing's out. We clearly not gonna have no pay-per-views to watch tomorrow. So yeah, man, congratulations, Impact, and shout out to Dixie, man. She's still supporting the company. I love that. Like, she's still tweeting with all the goodness. Definitely awfully tweeting for her long distant nephew at this point. So it's always cool to see her still in good spirits about the company.
I think she still owns 5% of the company.
That makes, a lot of sense with everything that happened. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So, I think that's everything that happened on the show tonight. We'll see what Tuesday comes to bring us. Motor City Machine Guns of the North, possibly the main event. I'm jacked.
Yeah, look, they got something to do in every aspect from this show, in every division. And they ain't necessarily no lame ducks. Like obviously, like you said, we kind of booked a little bit for them. They went different direction, but that's cool. We got faith. This regime is showing, if anything, they're innovative and using, talents in ways that get them in positions we didn't think they would get in prior to. So I'm looking forward to. Obviously, there's a lot to do moving forward with New Japan as well. And I think between them and Impact, man, they're the most watch, wait, and see that we got right now. They definitely got everybody on their toes. So.
And we'll be back Tuesday night after Impact's off theater to talk more wrestling. We're going to update the NWA situation. We'll talk. And we're not going to review the WWE show on Sunday, but if there's something noteworthy, we will talk about it. God, I'm really hoping that Rey Mysterio Seth Rollins match is as big of a shit show as I think it's going to be. I just want to dog on them because I want someone to go, Vince, this is why we're failing. And I want it to be spelled out for them. So, yeah, we'll be back Tuesday, 10 p.m. after Impact, right here on twitch.tv/WrestlingUnderground. You can download all our past podcasts either on iTunes, Podbean, or Spotify by searching NerdCorp or Real NerdCorp. We're also on the website, realnerdcorp.com. That's the best way to find us because we have links to everything there, including our YouTube and Twitch and everything like that. We are on Twitter at NERDCORP and on Instagram at Real NerdCorp, REAL NERDCORP. But links to those also are on the website, realnerdcorp.com. The website's the easiest way to go to find all of our past shows. We are also on our individuals. Marcus, you can be found on Paradox Kid on Twitter, PARADOXKID.
At the return of EC3.
God damn it. You can also find me on, you can also find Marcus on his other podcast, The True Penny Show. They cover a lot of New Japan. You can find them on Twitter at True Penny Show, TruePennyShow. You can also find me on my personals at Chad NerdCorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. By the by, just kind of keep this in the back of your pocket. For the first time ever, Slammiversary and WrestleMania had the same fan attendance. Victory! So for Marcus Green, I'm Chad Porto. We'll see you guys Tuesday. Tune in tomorrow night, Comic and GameCorp on Twitch, twitch.tv/comic and GameCorp. Links to the Twitch on the website if you missed the name. Matt and I will be talking video games on Sunday night. I think we'll probably go around 10 or so. Just stay tuned to Twitter to find out when we go live. We're reviewing Ninja Gaiden and keeping up with news from the video game industry as well. So that's tomorrow's show. It's usually a Saturday show, but we switched dates considering, Slammiversary was on Saturday. Marcus is beyond tired. It's midnight his time, 1 a.m. my time. We're done, folks. We're saying goodnight. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. Remember to watch more wrestling. And as always, Marcus, take us home.
Good night, meat.